energy spectrums like light that we can't perceive, or audio that we can't hear.
Right. Yeah, we can only see a certain range of frequency with our eyes. Like, we are missing 99% of our reality. We only see with our eyes a small percent. We can only perceive a small percent.
Physical energy spectrums like light that we can't perceive, or audio that we can't hear.
Right. Yeah, we can only see a certain range of frequency with our eyes. Like, we are missing 99% of our reality. We only see with our eyes a small percent. We can only perceive a small percent. And also, when we think of Egypt and what they've drawn and their creatures with bird heads and things like that, they were trying to show us something, right? Like this.
So, if you
other beings are possible. That's all I'm saying.
If you follow an ancient text narrative and you look way back in the beginning, if you go to certain texts like the Book of Enoch,
yeah,
it explains how it goes into more depth about angels or angelic beings, and there is a very physical part to them. There's also the spiritual part as well, but that is less known of. Even the Vatican has, in their archives, they have documents that really go in depth to the hierarchy of angelic beings.
Uh-huh.
So they have different looks to them according to their rank. One of the abilities that they were given right away was the ability to incarnate to whatever form they want to take on. Most people who encounter angelic beings can't describe them to you. So what they're...
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so because this is a formless creature, so a lot of times what you're hearing is a manufactured, fill-in-the-blank type of form that they're doing the best they can to describe it.
Yes.
Even people who see mantis beings cannot go into great detail about what they are.
Right.
It's more of something that you have to experience.
Yeah.
These are the same beings.
Yeah.
They don't come in, because you can see the inconsistencies in reports that people encounter. These mantis beings are from everywhere and anywhere.
Presented in the Close Encounters with the Third Kind, where Richard Dreyfuss's character fucking goes insane.
Right, yeah.
It ruins his life because he has inescapable thoughts about the reality that he lives in.
If you don't have a circle of protection from God,
Amen.
You encounter these beings, they have been doing this for a very long time. They don't change the way they do things.
They're comfortable with destroying someone's life.
To study angelology, like I said, the Vatican, they have detailed documents on the hierarchy of angels, how they operate, some names and what their jobs are. When you
they call them demons. Too.
Yeah.
They understand how demons work as well.
Right. You have some that are bound. Those are the ones that fell. Those are the 200 that fell in the Book of Enoch that took women and had children. Those ones are bound. Their children, the Nephilim, the giants, when they die, their spirits can either go to heaven or they have no place anywhere. So they're stuck in this type of limbo, walking around the earth. But they're limited in what they can do.
Right.
The ones that fell with Satan, however, they're roaming around free.
Mm-hmm.
They're not bound like the others. They're still free to incarnate or become different forms. And these are usually the ones that you're dealing with because they do things on a broader scale. The demons are there as more of an infestation type of a pest. So what happens in demon possession is first you have the infestation, and the infestation could be some similar things like simple things like a lighter being missing.
Yeah, things
showing
going
up.
missing.
Yeah, things like that that you'll notice are off.
Right.
Guys. Next comes harassment.
Yeah,
And this is what people describe when they're describing alien abductions and things of that nature. This is being harassing them
yeah.
to the point where it breaks them down. This is the game. To
They'll
break
kick
the
you
person
while you're down. Yep, they'll kick you while you're down.
Because what that does, it opens you up for quitting.
Spiritual
And once you
invasion.
give in or quit, or once you give in to them, that's when they can possess you.
Right.
A lot of people, they don't have to do this with. A lot of people, they come in looking as a friend or a guardian angel.
To those of us
And
who are
people will
open.
be very
Right.
willing to open themselves up to them, open themselves up for channeling.
Because they don't know better,
and
right.
Things of that nature. So, right, these are beings, they can say anything they want to you. You have no way to verify what they're saying.
Right.
This is,
So there's also the ambiguity of the physical form of angels. Like you said, no one really has a accurate description of an Old Testament angel, and the descriptions that are given are bizarre and quite shocking.
Right.
The eye studded on wings and the 6 wings, and the idea of this mystery and fear, like the idea of it being a terrifying thing to behold.
Right.
Those are attributes that could be shared with both good and bad entities. Good or fallen and still loyal angels. And so we might be dealing with exactly like parasitic poaching
Right.
from an intelligent species. That has been described as what it probably really is, a extraterrestrial species that's been known as the heavenly host, or the heavenly host that has been interpreted as an extraterrestrial species. That's just really a nomenclature issue and semantics.
Yeah. And I'm sure so many of them are feeding off like negative energy, so no wonder why we're kept in fear. No wonder why we're kept in stress. No
Because
wonder
the
why
fallen
we're kept...
angels,
Right.
the fallen
And
angels have been described as wanting to rise above God's throne, but we know that they came to Jared. They landed on Mount Jera to corrupt man, to partake in the earthly existence of this world against the decree of the Heavenly Father. Their commander, the Lord of the Host, which is something that, that itself changes the whole narrative of what these fallen angels' true agenda is. Is it to usurp and take over the lordship, the authority of the universe? Or is it specifically to parasite
Right.
off of man? Yeah, to he said, drink the louche of man and to corrupt us genetically and to,
And with our weather too, why is the weather changing to a place where maybe our environment
terraform
is
this
being
earth, yeah.
changed, right, not for us, but for something else. Maybe our environment is being changed to better suit some other form that is not accustomed to this environment. That's just my thoughts. It's a possibility, but we know that they've been geoengineering for how long now? It's very obvious.
yeah, it is like they are.
To parasite
Right.
off of man, yeah, to he said, drink the louche of man and to corrupt us genetically and to,
And with our weather too, why is the weather changing to a place where maybe our environment
terraform
is
this
being
earth, yeah.
changed, right, not for us, but for something else. Maybe our environment is being changed to better suit some other form that is not accustomed to this environment. That's just my thoughts. It's a possibility, but we know that they've been geoengineering for how long now? It's very obvious.
Yeah, it is like they are changing the
That's a
environment.
great point.
Right.
We have things living below us beneath the surface. A lot of things that people encounter are being held back for the most part. They do slip through every once in a while, but many of these things are being held back.
Right.
So, in other words, there are other beings holding some of these beings back. And they can only do so for a certain period of time until they are no longer allowed to hold these beings back.
And the head honcho is still in control, always.
The fallen
Even
angels, their
still.
agenda is to rehybridize man again. They're trying to do what they've done in the beginning. Only this time they're not going to do it in the physical form. They're not going to be allowed to do it. So
Yeah.
they're going to take a more, they're going to have man try and do that for them. So,
But why do you think they want us to go to Mars so bad? It's because I know the Earth is protected by certain kinds of, what we would, for lack of a better
Well-
word, know as magics, are
Well-
divine protections.
you know how I said that everything that's happening to us is not really new? Now, there
Yes.
were, during the times when things were being wiped away, or being wiped clean,
This way.
not all people stayed. If you know what I mean. So, when it comes to places like Mars, the Moon, the ancients talked about these beings coming down in ships.
Mm-hmm.
So, we do know that the Nephilim were wiped out. They weren't complete. We know that they were there before and then after that. And we know that not all fallen angels were bound. And we know that some of these beings, they do have technology. So we look at it as something more tangible and physical because we're used to getting in and out of ships and things like that. What they have is a little bit more
Advanced.
holographic, I could say. So what you're seeing is not actually physical. If you were to actually go up and try and touch it.
It's not what it is.
But that's in their case. What we try to do here is basically their technology converted into something physical. There's a lot of the electronics, everything that we use is fallen angel technology. It has their markings, it has their,
Right.
it's
Yep.
circuitry.
They're symbols. Yep.
It's symbols we use in
The
government.
D-Wave computer, they admit that it has to tap into something else. It gets so cold.
Absolutely.
Stating.
Or it's like John Dee when he created the Enochian language. Or Solomon with his protective seals.
Right.
Yes.
If you
Yeah.
study the world of the occult, what people often misinterpret are that these symbols were given by fallen angels to man
Right.
to, open up as sigils and things. Those were symbols that were acquired through exact calculations,
Mm-hmm.
usually involving astrology or mathematics in many different ways, such as like the Goetia and things like that, or not the number thing, was it the Grammatia?
Gematria. Yeah.
Yeah, there's energetic properties to symbols and text. English, people don't know this, English language is actually very, very old
Yes.
language.
Right.
And the alphabet actually has very unique energetic properties when you combine the letters.
Yep.
And so shapes also have those properties. Certain
Yep.
shapes drawn in certain ways have certain magnetic properties and certain properties. It's just similar to the Japanese experiment.
The rice
The
experiment.
rice experiment,
Right.
where you place the love and hate labels on the jars to either make it,
The rice
last.
will either last longer or it will die off.
Right.
And it's because it says either, live or love or hate, right? Wasn't it?
Right.
Something like that?
So that's what actually witchcraft is. It's actually a technology, an ancient, very old technology.
They call it spelling for a reason. It's
Right.
spelling. It is genuinely a spell.
Right. That wasn't even, according to the Book of Enoch, that wasn't even an invention of man. That's an invention of a gift from the fallen angels. Men writing in ink. And God didn't intend for us to do that because God didn't want us to carry around our past. So that's why that was something that wasn't taught to us when He created us. So that was
That's
something.
a very important part too. Is
That was
what
good.
this means is simply a division, and this is the most important thing: is that there's a division between what God has intended and what is currently happening.
Right. Yeah.
Like an idea of what's in men's hearts is the battlefield. Men's hearts are the battlefield, and it's where they are directed, what they desire. Is it God's plan for us?
Right.
Like our natural could be not
Way of
a
life,
natural,
state
like,
of being.
yeah.
We gotta remember too, these angels, they were deceived as well. They were lied
Yeah.
to by their own kind.
That's true.
There's different angels, and they're all taught, they do have like a hive mind mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas one can learn something and then that automatically is imprinted on the others, but they do have a hierarchy where they teach things to the others. So what we're dealing with here is the ones who fell first. We think that they were the youngest of some of these angelic beings, whatever you want to call them, and that's why they were easily seduced by certain other beings. Who the ones who were on Mount Hermon were the ones who went back and taught these angels how to shapeshift, how to take human form. They had to be taught these things first.
Right.
And a lot of this stuff they had already known to exist. Everything, their knowledge of the cosmos and all that, that came down as props to get people to worship them as gods.
Yeah.
Because their whole intent was to play as God. They wanted to be worshipped. And that's what this has all been all about since the very beginning. But it all circles around, it's this big circle of deception amongst them. And then you have angels that are higher up in the hierarchy, like Michael, Gabriel, and them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a little bit more, they have a better understanding of once something is said, it's going to be